With all these directives learned, let's now have a look at the last built-in directive for now. An important one though. It's said that we can click the Add Server button, but we don't actually add servers to our list here, right? This list doesn't grow, this list is totally static. We can change this with the ngFor directive. So let's have a look at how it works. In our servers component here, we right now manually add our app server component twice. It would be nicer to have an array of servers which adds it dynamically. So in the servers component here, I'll add a new property, servers, and this is an array, and here I could have my test server and my test server 2 maybe. And when we create a new server here, I actually want to access this array of servers and push a new server on it. And this should of course use the server name I set up. Now with this, I have an array of servers. It would now be great if we could replicate the app server component as often as needed to have a server for each element in the array. So 2 initially, and then a new one for each server we add. We can do this. I'll get rid of the second app server here. And on the first one, I will place another directive with a star, because this is now also a structural directive, changing the DOM itself. It's the ngFor directive. The ngFor base syntax looks like this. We define a temporary variable for inside the loop with let. Give it any name you like server, for example. And then of servers. Servers here is the property we defined in the TypeScript file. And this will now loop through all elements in this array and assign the individual element to this dynamic server variable. So that's just like you might know this loop from a normal, JavaScript code, the for of loop. This server variable can now be used in the template. But here we don't really need it, to be honest. We will soon learn in the next course section how we can pass data to our own components to output it there. So for now, we won't need that. But one thing we should see is that if I save this and we go back to our application, we still see 2 because we start with 2. But if I add more servers, you see our list grows. And we can click this as often as we want. Of course, the content of the individual server is still static because we can't pass the data, like the server name, to that component. But that is something we will learn in the next course section when we dive deeper into components, and we will learn how we can create our own properties on components. We can then set from outside a feature which would be great to have here. So let's dive into this in the next course section. Before doing so though, let's practice the things we learned in the last lectures, and then let's also set up our course project before we then dive deeper into components and data binding again. So, see you there.